Welcome back everyone, I hope you're all doing well. It is a beautiful crisp autumn day today here in the UK, and today is the day I'm going to be overwintering my indoor caladiums. I've got a couple in the living room and then I've also got one up in my office, so I'll be showing you what to do with them, how to keep them happy over the winter. But first of all, I'm going to be making myself a nice iced coffee. I thought I'd quickly show you my caladiums before I make my coffee. So we've got Big Red here, who's actually not looking too bad compared to my other caladiums, although we have got one droopy leaf and they are starting to yellow around the edges. I might actually leave this one a little bit longer just because he is my favourite and he's not looking quite as droopy as the others. And let me show you the other one. So this is my Florida Moonlight. Not looking its best. It's looking a bit droopy and a bit sad now. So I think it's time to chop this one back and make him nice and cozy for winter. And then my third caladium's actually upstairs in my office. Here's my Strawberry Star, looking a bit floppy. Definitely time to overwinter this one. So earlier on this year during springtime, I actually started growing my caladiums as bulbs underneath my Spider Farmer grow light. And I think I kept them under here for a couple of months. This shelving unit is where I keep all my bulbs that I'm starting off, plants that I'm growing or propagating. They obviously got way too big for this shelving unit, so I moved a couple downstairs. This one stayed here. And then I also planted some outside in my garden. But I would highly recommend starting off your bulbs in springtime underneath a grow light. If it's nice and warm and bright, they will come up much quicker. I also just wanted to show you my new El Choco Red that I got from Foliage Fanatic last week. It's a little baby, still rooting in moss. So I'm going to be keeping it here underneath the grow light. And I'm sure he will produce some new growth very quickly. It's quite exciting as I've wanted one of these for quite a while. I got another couple of plants from Foliage Fanatic which I'll show you.
Saw beauty in the selflessness of giving. I heard sorrow in the songs of 1,000 merchantmen, singing just to fill their emptiness. New wisdom was a choice of the moment, there for you to be now and not just to become. I put myself down just by looking up. felt love from the caring of a woman. I felt the loss of a fallen child underneath the sun. On the day I woke, the soul is one. With my heart open, without the fear of pain that may find its way in. And if it did, I'd do the same all again. A witness flow of poetry in the ocean, and but along to my eyes met the lining of the sky. Fulfilled enough to never question why. And I showed myself upon my own reflection of a world I'm creating that's affecting everyone. On the day I woke, the soul as one.
So as soon as I took them out of their decorative pots, they literally just all flopped to the floor. So when your caladiums start looking like this, it means it's time to overwinter them. They can also droop when they're thirsty or if they've been overwatered, but I think I've got the balance right with the watering, so it's definitely not a watering issue. They are definitely ready to be put away for the winter. So you've got a couple of options when it comes to overwintering your caladiums. You can either chop them back to soil level and leave them in the pot. If you've got the room, you could just leave them in the pots over winter. Don't water them. If you water them, you'll end up rotting the bulb, which you don't want. So just put them away in a dark cupboard and make sure they're dry. I did try this method the very first year I kept caladiums. I just chopped it back to the soil level and kind of dry stored the pot, but my bulb still ended up rotting even though I didn't water it. It was a very small bulb, to be honest, so I'm not sure if that was the issue. These are much larger bulbs. So since then I have been dry storing the bulbs rather than keeping them in the pots. So I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. So here I'm literally just going to be chopping the stems back to soil level with my pruners. Be prepared to make a mess if you're digging up the bulbs. Next I'm just going to be digging up the bulbs from the soil. I'm doing this over a bag because it's quite messy. If the caladium has grown lots of roots, don't worry, you can actually chop these off. As long as you've just got the main bulbs, that's fine. So just loosen all the soil from around the bulbs. Try and get as much soil off the bulbs as possible. And as I said, don't worry about the roots, they will grow new roots when they come back in the springtime. You can actually trim them off. So originally I just had 1 or 2 bulbs, and as you can see it seems to have multiplied. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 now. So when it comes to planting these back up in springtime, you could plant them as a clump and put them in quite a big pot, or you could separate them and just plant a couple together. So ideally you want your bulb to be as dry as possible to make sure it doesn't rot over the winter. So I usually just pop them in the airing cupboard in a paper bag for 1 to 2 days just to dry them out. And then once you've done that, all you're going to be doing is popping them in a paper bag Then I'll usually sprinkle with a little bit of yellow sulfur powder, which again just helps make sure that they don't get any mold on them over the winter while they're being stored. Alternatively, you could try using cinnamon powder. So once they're all dry and I've sprinkled them with my sulfur or cinnamon, I'm just going to be popping them in a dark cupboard for the winter. I usually just stick them in a kitchen cupboard. This one hasn't really multiplied like the other one did. There's just 3 tiny bulbs here. So again, I'll just be putting these in the airing cupboard for a couple of days and then dry storing them in a bag over winter. So all these bulbs will be dry stored now until around March time. I will be making a video when it's time to pot them up. So keep an eye out for that. I will add any of my Caladium videos into my Caladium playlist on my channel. Goodbye bulbs, see you again in springtime. So as I mentioned, I think I'll be leaving Big Red a little bit longer. I think it was November time last year that I chopped him back. I might just trim off this droopy leaf here. Also, if you're wondering what potting mix I use for my Caladiums, I'll link my soil mix video below for you in the description box. Just thought I'd show you a few things while I'm down here. This is another one of my new plants from Foliage Fanatic. This is a Sodiroi AFF. The leaves are quite big and there's some new growth on the way. It's also got the lovely ruffles on the petiole there. I was really excited to add this plant to my collection because I do love the Sodiroi. I do have a small one upstairs, but this one is just beautiful. I absolutely love the silver splashing on the leaves. It gives it such character. Hopefully it'll be happy here, sat next to the humidifier. And we have a brand new leaf on my Gloriosum. This is definitely one of my favourite houseplants and I found it pretty easy to care for, to be honest. It hasn't been very fussy. When I first got the plant, it only had this one leaf here, so it has grown 2 new leaves now. Super happy. My Luxurians has also just grown a new leaf. Beautiful. Everyone's looking pretty happy over in this corner. Oh, and I finally potted up my Pictum tricolour. I've been rooting it in water for many months. And this is the newest leaf here. I'm not sure if I'll be keeping it here long term, but for now, my living room's undergoing a bit of a makeover at the moment, so I'm going to have to move a few things around soon when my new sofa arrives. This guy is going wild up here as well. Everything's all tucked up and cozy for the winter in the garden. Well, I hope everyone's keeping warm and cozy like my plants. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I really hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. As always, if you've got any questions, just leave them below and I'll do my best to get back to you. Take care everyone, and I'll see you all soon.